How's it going, YouTube? Dallasboi here, back in with another Pokemon Showdown battle. Today's matchup is going to be against Blvdman. He wanted to test out a bit of a team he made towards the OU room, and I opted to accept the match. And the reason is I actually wanted to test out this team, actually, and this matchup turned out to be pretty interesting, I have to say. So, anyways, looking at teams, I'm looking at that Mega Lopunny as a really big threat to my team. And I'd like to get a good amount of damage on that thing, so Mega Diancie could do a lot of work to his team. Looking at Mega Diancie does actually do a number to his team. And my best response to that Mega Lopunny would probably have to be either my Hippowdon or my Tentacruel. Tentacruel being a little bit more expendable, and Hippowdon being able to set up rocks and whatnot. But for Hawthorne, I can see myself getting some Iron Barbs damage on that thing. And it could turn out to be a pretty important member of the team. And I'm also looking at Hydreigon doing a little bit of work to his team. Beating out the Gothitelle in some situations, and probably dropping some Dracos on stuff that is not named Klefki. So I'm actually looking at Hydreigon as pretty much my main win condition here, and for Hawthorne as a secondary win condition, so keep those two alive and I should be okay for this match. So hope you guys enjoy this battle, and let's get this show on the road. And starting off, he's going to be leading off with his Gastrodon, and I have to lead off with my Diancie so I can get my Mega off. The obvious protect here is obvious, so he's just going to be going for the curse as I protect. And next turn, I'm just going to be going into my dedicated Gastrodon counter, which is this for Hawthorne. And notice that I don't have any leftovers on this thing, and it's for this reason, this Gothitelle. After I get off the lead sheet on that, I'm going to use my Shed Shell to get out of there and have Diancie sponge the trick. And since he's pretty much locked in the trick for as long as he's in, he's just going to be going out to his Klefki, and I'm just going to Moonblast on this thing and then go for the Protect to scout for a potential Flash Cannon. But he does Magnet Rise there, so I can't touch him with Earth Power there, so I'm just going to switch into my Hawthorne to kind of troll this thing a little bit and get some Iron Bar damage on this thing, and get a lead sheet off on that Lopunny. And he's going to go Mega here and go for the Fake Out as I send in my Tentacruel, trying to avoid the high jump kick. But here he's going to be going out into his Gothitelle, and I expected that and wound up doubling into my Hydreigon. And he stays in as I go for the U-turn, so I'm just going to go into Diancie. It's a safest switch, and he winds up going for the trick there. And I'm just going to Earth Power, expecting this Klefki to come in. I nailed the prediction, and I get a crit on it. Honestly, that didn't matter, because it was, we calculated it was closest to a no-co from that range anyway. And now, he sends in his Lopunny, and I wind up going into my Tentacruel here to sponge the hit. And here, I actually wind up going for a Scald over switching, predicting the Gothitelle. And here's the reason why. He no longer has Klefki lying around here, so my reliance on this thing to spin away any hazards is pretty much limited. And although we could send in Gastrodon to sponge his Scald, I pretty much see Tentacruel as not this useful this game. And although Toxic Spikes would be nice, it's not really needed because that Zapdos flying around there. So I just want to go for the Scald and just sack this thing off to the Swallow. And this Facade, I'm pretty impressed by that damage actually. But now I can just go into my Dragon to revenge kill this thing potentially. And I go for the Dark Pulse here. It does not as much as I would have liked to the Zapdos, so I'm going to switch in my Hippowdon to sponge potential Electric Attack. But he winds up doubling into his Gothitelle, and my Hippowdon is trapped, and is subjected to wield a Choice Scarf for the rest of this game. So now, knowing that I'm locked into Earthquake, he's going to send in his Swallow, and I'm just going to try to have Hawthorne sponge a hit. And I don't take that well because that is a crit, which is definitely unfortunate because I need this thing for Gastrodon. It's looking like, but I'm just going to send in my Hippowdon to Sponge a Brave Bird and just let this thing take itself out. And now I'm going to be going out into my Ferrothorn as the Gastrodon comes out. He winds up getting a crit on the Scald, which doesn't matter because he doesn't burn me. I'd rather get crit than burn. But I'm just going to get off a little Leech Seed on the Zapdos. And when I'm going into my Diancie as the Mega Lopunny comes in on the double. But here I go for the Protect after he fakes out, so he could wind up hitting himself with that Jump Kick. So that's enough damage for me to get on that Mega Lopunny, my Hydreigon, to deal a good amount of damage to that with a Draco Meteor or whatever I want to go for. But now comes Hydreigon after I sack my Hippowdon. I wound up going for the Dark Pulse here because it was the most accurate move I had. I wound up getting a crit there, definitely did not matter from the range of health it was at. And out comes Gastro. I try to go for a Dark Pulse to calculate how much it's going to do to this thing. It does a pretty disappointing amount. But then again, I'm not Life Orb, I'm Scarf, Hydreigon. And here I want to try to get my Ferrothorn safely. So I'm just going to try to go into Infernape as Death Fodder here. But Infernape serves actually a pretty good role in this part of the match, because I'm able to go for the Will-O-Wisp there, and I'm able to Sponge the Scald, and Gastrodon's pretty much crippled, so my Ferrothorn can deal with it accordingly. And there we just have a little recovery exchange, but here I want to go in for the taunt so he won't be able to do set up many more curses. And this actually gives me a pretty safe switch into my Hydreigon. Not free, but safe, as I can Sponge a Scald, and I'm pretty much immune to Earthquake here, so I'm pretty much free to drop a Draco on whatever wants to come in. And by whatever wants to come in, I mean this Zapdos. But Zapdos takes the hit with 15% after leftovers, and I'm just going to try to drop another Draco, and Gastrodon once again takes the hit pretty well. And pretty much expecting him to recover, I'm just going to be going into my Infernape, so I can just one Death Fodder this thing off for my Ferrothorn to get off a nice brilliant hit on this thing with a close combat. And even after the defense drops, I'm able to live the hit on 1% here, which actually allows me to go for the next move here, which is a Taunt. And here I felt like Taunt was the best play here, because with the amount of health Gastrodon's at, I don't really want it to set up a recover, so I can pretty much have Diancie or Hydreigon come in and pretty much take it out without it being at a good amount of health. And I also don't want this Gastrodon to set up to +4 and sweep my team. But actually pretty much sees the taunt coming and winds up going for the Scald there. And I'm pretty much free to send in my Diancie to clean up the game with Moonblast. Gastrodon gets taken out from the range of health it's at, and with his Zapdos being at 15%, he's just going to wind up forfeiting there, so physically defensive Infernape, putting in a lot of work against that Gastrodon, which is pretty impressive. So, that was a pretty fun game, Blvdman. Hope you guys enjoyed this battle, rate, comment, sub, and I'll see you guys next time. Goodbye.